So if you read in Numbers chapter 15, verse 37 to verse 41, you will see that our Heavenly Father commanded us to put tassels in the four corners of our garment. Okay? He commanded us to put tassels in the four corners of our garment. This presentation is not meant for me to lecture you. My intention is just to present to you what our Heavenly Father wants us to do. And this is very important because if you look at Numbers chapter 15 from verse 37 to verse 41, you will see that he commanded that we should make tassel and put in the four corners of our garment. Okay, and he said that the reason why we should put it in the four corners of our garment is so that when we look at it, we will remember his commandment to keep it and not go out whoring as we usually do. Whoring by going after other gods. So he wanted us to make tassels and put it in the four corners of our garment. Now, you find this in Numbers chapter 15 from verse 37 to verse 41. You will also find it in Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 12. So Deuteronomy 22 verse 12, you will see that he also told us to make tassels and put in the four corners of our garment. But the place where it was much more detailed is in the book of Numbers chapter 15 from verse 37 to verse 41. That's where you're going to see the full information about us putting tassels in the four corners of our garment. I do wear tassels myself, and if you look in the New Testament, you will also see that Christ and the early followers of Christ, they were wearing tassels, just our Heavenly Father commanded us to do. If you look at Luke chapter 8 from verse 43, you will see that Christ was wearing tassel. He was wearing tassel in the four corners of his garment. You will also see this in Matthew chapter 14. Matthew chapter 14 from verse 33. You will see that Christ was also wearing tassel. Now, this is a little bit tricky because it depends on the translation that you're reading. Like I have this New King James right here. If you read in this New King James, it will tell you fringes. I believe it says fringes. But it depends on the translation that you're reading, because most translations have actually removed the word tassels or fringes and they just say garment. So if you read in Luke chapter 8 from verse 43, they show that it was just a garment. So I highly encourage you that you read this in multiple translation. Never ever rely in one translation. Don't keep one translation. Make sure that you have two different Bibles, two different translations, so that if you read on this one, you read on this one, you compare it. Because sometimes, most of the times, these translations can be very deceptive, because those that translated these Bibles, they are basically hidden. They don't keep the commandments in the Bible. They were not Hebrews. It was not meant for them. They were just Gentile translators. So they translated the Bible and they don't really understand the commandment. They don't understand the Old Testament. So sometimes they removed a lot of things from the Bible, or they mistranslate it. That is why I don't rely on one different translation or one translation. I use multiple translations. So I read in this one and then I will read in this one and read. In that way you get the full meaning and get any word that may have been mistranslated. So if you read Matthew chapter 14 from verse 34, or if you read Luke chapter 8 from verse 43, you will see that Christ was wearing tassel in the four corners of his garment. Christ was wearing it, and he commanded us in Matthew chapter 5 from verse 17 to verse 19 that we must keep every single law in the Old Testament. And one of those laws is the one found in Numbers chapter 15 from verse 37 to verse 41 that says that we must make tassels and put in the four corners of our garment. You will also see the same thing in Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 12. It also says that we should make tassels and put in the four corners of our garment. So, and tassels is for everyone. Tassel is for everyone. It's not just for men. Okay, some people might say, oh, it says the children of Israel. It's not just for the children of Israel, because if you look at in number in the same chapter, in Numbers chapter 15 verse 15 and verse 16, if you look at Numbers chapter 15 verse 15 and verse 16, you will see that the laws and the commandments that our Heavenly Father gave to the children of Israel, it was meant for everyone. He gave it to everyone. Whether you are an Israelite or not, you must keep every single law that is found in the Old Testament according to Numbers chapter 15, verse 15 and verse 16. So this is not just for the children of Israel. The tassel is not meant, or was not meant, only for the children of Israel. The tassel was meant for everyone to keep. Everyone is required to put tassels in their clothes. Little children, big children, everyone, men and women, white or black, everyone is required to put tassels in the corners of their garment. And this right here, this is my tassel. This is what my tassel look like. So I do wear tassel myself, and this is what my tassel look like. And you also are required to make tassels and put in the four corners of your garment. You can buy it off of eBay or Amazon, but I recommend that you make your own. You can make it yourself, but if you're not able to make it, if it's too complicated, simply go online and order it from Amazon or eBay. And I wear mine every day except when I'm showering. If I go to shower and I take off my clothes, I take off my tassel. But most of the time I do wear my tassel all the time. You're required to wear it every time. So this is what it looks like. This is what mine looks like. So I wear this. I use this to hook it in my cloth. This is what it looks like. And you're supposed to have a blue ribbon. You're supposed to put a blue ribbon on it. So if you read in Numbers chapter 15 from verse 37 to verse 41, you will see that it says to make a tassel and put a blue ribbon, a ribbon of a cord on that tassel, and that we should wear it so that when we look at it, we will remember all his commandments to keep it. So if you look at also in Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 12, it's saying also the same thing, that we should put tassels in the four corners of our garment. And the point is that this is for everyone, whether you are an Israelite or not, because according to Numbers chapter 15 verse 15 and verse 16, it says that the same law he gave to the Israelite applies to everyone, both Israelites and non-Israelites. The same law applies to you, applies to me. The same law you read in this book, according to Numbers chapter 15 verse 15 and verse 16. The same law in this book applies to everyone. And according to Romans chapter 13, Romans chapter 2 verse 13, it says that not the hearers of the law are just, but the doers of the law will be justified in the sight of the Most High on the judgment day. But if you read from verse 1, Romans chapter 2 from verse 1 to verse 13, you will see that everyone will be judged according to the laws and commandments found in this book. That is the reason why it's so important for us to keep these laws, and for us to make a tassel and put in our clothes. It's for everyone. Christ was wearing it. The apostles were wearing it. We should be wearing it. It's for everyone. It's for you. It's for me. It's for little kids. It's for adults. It's for men and for women, for black, from white. It doesn't matter. Everyone who has the desire to love and obey our Creator must put a tassel in their clothes. And remember that, remember what Christ said in Revelation chapter 22 verse 14. In Revelation 22 verse 14, he said that those who will be allowed into the kingdom of heaven are those that kept the commandments of our Creator. Where do you find his commandment? You find his commandment in this book. And Christ made it very clear that every single law and the commandment in this book are still in effect, and that we must keep it. We must keep every single law. And he summed it up in Revelation chapter 22 verse 14, that those who will be allowed into the kingdom of heaven are those who kept the commandments of God. Where do you find this commandment? In the Old Testament. That is the reason why it's so important that we must put our tassels. We must put on our tassels. It's easy to make your tassel. You can go to a store and buy this material. Buy this material and make your own tassel. Make it for your kids, for your husband, for your children, because it's for everyone. Everyone is required to keep the Sabbath. It's not just for the men. Everyone is required to put on their tassel. It's not just meant for the men. It's for everyone. So I thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. If you have any question, like as I said, comment or send me a message, and I will try to respond as soon as I can. Until then, remain blessed. Thank you.